What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk to you about Lucid. I want to go over some of the data points, what moved it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So Lucid did go up 3.6%, 1040 the high, 957 the low. So the market being as optimistic as it was today really did help Lucid, because during the pre-market it was definitely very much orienting towards the red. So I did a video earlier today where I went over the good, the bad, and the ugly, and there is some positives, but if I'm going to be fully honest, I think there was a lot more negatives and a lot more gray rather than anything. But despite that though, we did actually get a lot of analyst ratings already, and a lot of them were somewhat optimistic. So today we did see 13.2 million shares being traded. From the flow right here, most of the volume did come from algorithmic trading. So piggybacking off of the general optimism in the market. After hours, we do have Nvidia's earnings. That's going to be the very big deal for the market, really popping the whole AI narrative being a bubble and whatnot, or just really kind of pushing things higher. So tomorrow will be a very interesting day. But aside from that though, we didn't really have that much in data that would have really affected kind of Lucid. We didn't really have that much in new news or whatever else. So everything that they kind of posted was yesterday. But the analyst ratings though, so we did have Morgan Stanley giving a $10 sell, Andrew, who has a 56% success rating, $17 hold, that was Stifel, Analyst has a 54% success rating. Then we had a 14 Cantor. Cantor, they lowered it from 21, mind you, but Andre Shepard has a 42% success rating, 13, and then 16. So at the end of the day, like over the last 3 months, $14 is that price target, representing a 36.19% upside. So yes, a lot of the analysts were somewhat lowered their ratings from previous, but if you think about it, where Lucid's at right now, there's a little bit more upside, right? So when it comes down to Lucid's earnings, I think one of the biggest things that analysts are really kind of optimistic and focusing on is that 500 million in savings. So they did reduce staff by 12%. That was announced a couple days back, and that 12% is going to result in 500 million in savings over 3 years. Even though Tafik didn't really answer why it was over 3 years, clearly analysts see savings and they like it. So I think in general, at the same time, analysts might be leaning towards that Lucid purposefully lowered their guidance, so between 25 to 27,000, just in case they, like, let's say, I know, worst case scenario ultimately for 2026, which Mark did kind of was a little bit more negative so far, at least on 2026. But when it comes down to shorts, they did increase 547,000 shares. 34.7% of the free float is being shorted, versus to be 45.2 million shares overall being shorted. Cost to borrow average did jump up, so 75.9%. That's an annual rate, not a daily rate, but DTC being at 6.41 days really does signal that shorts are very overextended. So definitely a lot of interesting things all happening at once. Looking at the intraday though, shorts kind of like they weren't really doing too much. They did return quite a lot leading into the end of the day, so that gave Lucid a nice little additional boost higher. And again, I think maybe a little bit of optimism associated to Nvidia's earnings. But aside from that, looking at the options, 1.6 million in calls, 4.8 in puts. 47% of all the options being done are bearish in nature. From a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around that 1050 to 11. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub 9 to 950. So bears are kind of still thinking that more downside is coming. Like I said, I think for face value, if you actually look at the earnings, there was a lot of grayness, but clearly people are deciding to be a little bit more optimistic on Lucid. Looking at the secondary market, anything with a ask is a buy, anything with a bid is a sell. So you do see a couple pockets of selling here and there, but still surprisingly you do see a lot of buying. So 2.9 million, that was a buy, 4.7 that was a sell. So let me know your general thoughts. Clearly institutions are somewhat divided on Lucid's earnings being bullish or bearish. What's your honest opinion? And I know I kind of live streamed it yesterday For face value, again, just saying it out loud, I think it was a little bit more negative, only because maybe people were assuming, including myself, higher targets for 2026, but maybe they just kind of lowballed it so they can easily beat. Because I know they kind of did that in 2023 a little bit. Didn't really kind of work out all that well, but still, nonetheless, maybe that's kind of their plan. On the dark pool, we do have a little bit less transactions, and so this kind of matches with shorts not really doing too much. Right now, with it closing at 1028, it is right above this R2. So 1026 is going to be that key pivot. 1008 followed by 980 is going to be support levels. We also did bounce off of this S1, so 951. So I guess going forward, that's a good support level. Nice potential, a little bit of a bottom for that. And then if, let's say, NVIDIA earnings are home run and kind of we move higher because of that, so 1055 is going to be the next strong target. Aside from all of that fun stuff on the actual chart itself, still not too great. It is above that 10-day moving average, so signaling that's building up a little bit of momentum, but still nothing really significant. Stochastic RSI is at 43, so a little bit more on the oversold. So I think that also did help with a lot of these ratings that did come out. Even though, again, going over here, you had, for instance, Cantor reducing it from 21 to 14. Still 14 is bullish considering we're at the 10s right now. Same for Stifle, giving 17. So with us being at $10, definitely a lot more upside. We had Baird, so reducing it from 14 to 13. Again, similarly, fairly positive. So yeah, let me know your viewpoint on that. Aside from that, though, there really hasn't been that much in new articles, aside from like new information. So a lot of articles are coming out just trying to analyze and make sense of their earnings. Because it could go either way, right? There's some bullishness, some bearish, all depends on how you are seeing Lucid. But what's your viewpoint on Lucid? Did you take advantage and buy the dip? Did you sell? What's your kind of 2 cents on all that? One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. Put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades, worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.